Good evening, everyone. Before we start our meeting, I would like to recognize Councilman Zahn from District 4 on the Jefferson Parish Council. He represents most of the city of Kenner. Councilman Zahn, did you wish to address this council and the audience for a moment?
Thank you, Councilwoman DeFrancis. Let me start by saying, first of all, I'm glad to see you in that seat.
Thank you.
I've been watching, keeping up with what you all doing, and you're doing an excellent job as the council chairman, so I'm proud to see that. I also want to say thank you to all of you guys. Y'all are all doing a wonderful job. It's good to see a group working together. No one working for any political interests, everybody working for the best thing for the city of Kenner, and that's important right now. I'm happy to report that we have a great relationship with the city of Kenner, Jefferson Parish, particularly District 4, which I represent. A large portion of that is the city of Kenner. We have wonderful working relationship with the administration, doing some projects with Mayor Yenny. We're doing some projects with the chief of police, and I believe we're doing probably a project or a potential project in every district up there. So that's really important. I think the people of Kenner will see that very shortly. We've been getting some mailers out to let them know what's coming, what has already come, and what we plan on doing to expand that. With that said, if you all ever need anything, please feel free to call on me. I'm always there for you all. If you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer what's going on in the parish. If nothing else, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman Zahn, and we're happy to see you in our council chamber again.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Thank y'all.
I'd like to call this meeting now to order. If everyone would please stand for the invocation. Councilman Reyno.
Councilman Carroll has a special intention he would like first.
Thank you, Councilman. I would like to ask the council, the audience, and everyone in the city of Kenner to keep Miss Johnny Mae Arsenault's family in your prayer. Miss Johnny Mae passed yesterday. Miss Johnny Mae was a participant, coach, grandmother, great-grandmother at the Morgan and Buddy Lawson Playground. She will be missed, not only from the playground, but from the neighborhood, someone that we grew to love very much. Miss Johnny Mae, God bless you, and God bless your family.
And Councilman, if I could add, I would like to remember the Selfo family. The Selfos own Gambino's Bakery and Metairie. They live in Council District 5 in Place Pontchartrain. They unexpectedly lost their son, Sam, and we'd like to remember him in our prayers.
And I'd also like everyone to keep in their prayers Mr. Roy Segur, Council Member Segur's dad, who was recently diagnosed with cancer. Let us bow our heads and remember we are in the presence of the Lord. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and all the blessings you have bestowed upon us. We thank you for the opportunities that we have and for the difficulties that come along with them. Those difficulties remind us to reach out to you, Lord. They strengthen our faith, hope, and love in you, our Savior. We ask, Lord, that you comfort and heal all those in our community and in our families who are ill and suffering. Lord of mercy, we pray for all of the souls of our departed brothers and sisters. May they rejoice in your kingdom where all of our tears are wiped away. God of peace, watch over our military and keep them safe. Keep us always mindful of the sacrifices that they and their families have made for our freedom. May they always be in our hearts and prayers. Father, in this season of Thanksgiving, we pray thankfulness will rule in our hearts, that we may enjoy abundant life overflowing with praise and thankfulness. As we instructed in 1 Thessalonians 5:16, rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. In thanksgiving we pray. Amen.
Amen. Councilman Carroll, would you lead us in the prayer? Excuse me, the pledge, please.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Chairman, you have a quorum. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B-14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones, pagers, beepers, and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. The consent agenda, Madam. Item 1 is approval of the minutes, the regular council meeting of November 6th, 2014. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. We have none. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is an application number 1854-14, Historic Rivertown Redevelopment Association to hold a public gathering on November 29, 2014, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. to hold a shop small business event at LaSalle's Landing, Kenner, Louisiana. Madam Chairman, that concludes the consent agenda for this evening.
Move on the consent agenda by Councilman Conley, seconded by Councilman Klein, to accept. Would everyone please vote?
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0 as Councilman Impastato is not here with us this evening. The public appearance agenda is public hearings for final passage. Item 9. Item 9A is a public hearing regarding resolution number B-16552.
Okay.
A resolution authorizing the City Council for the City of Kenner to hold a public hearing to determine whether or not the buildings located at 3708 Connecticut Avenue, Kenner, Louisiana, should not be repaired or demolished.
Moved by Councilman Reno, seconded by Councilman Klein. Is there anyone from the audience who would like to speak pro or against this, this particular resolution? Pardon? Amy? I'm
Yes.
sorry, Ms. Vella, do you have a presentation?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Vella, would you please go ahead with your presentation?
The structure in question is a pile-supported slab structure bearing the municipal address of 3708 Connecticut Avenue. The property is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Lucius Koch. It was determined that this property was unsafe and dangerous under the building codes for the city of Kenner. Notice was sent certified mail to the property owners advising them of the property and building violations. After no response from the property owners, a curator was appointed by the city. As of this date, the violations have not been corrected, nor have there been any attempts to comply. The city has been maintaining the property for several years, and there is currently an amount owed of in the sum of $29,720.53 to the city of Kenner. The city of Kenner also contracted the services of an engineer, and it is noted by the report of the engineer retained by the city of Kenner, who provided the following reasons of inadequate maintenance, dilapidation, and abandonment. Power has been disconnected. A few of the windows have been boarded up while others have been broken. Portions of the front of the structure are severely overgrown with vegetation. Portions of the soffit and fascia are rotting and have fallen off. The column supporting the porch cover has failed, thus causing the cover to sag and compromising its structural stability. Due to settlement, the underside of the slab is open, allowing feral animals and varmints. There is a storage shed at the rear of the property that is also overgrown with vegetation and has signs of rot within its framing members. Based on the report of the engineer, the structure is a public hazard due to the current condition of the front porch cover. Furthermore, we recommend that the city take the steps necessary to declare it a public nuisance and have it abated by demolition or brought up to current city code and ordinances.
Thank you, Ms. Vallow. After seeing the presentation, is there anyone from the audience who wishes to speak? Seeing no one? I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand up.
Okay. Good afternoon, council
Good afternoon,
members. My name is Sophie Rosado. I was hired by the city of Kenner to be the curator on this particular piece of property. I was trying to locate Mr. Lucius Koch and Miss Marion Koch. In order to do that, I ran an internet background search on Intellius for both names. I was unable to make contact with either individual on any of the phone numbers that were provided by the Intellius search. One person called back from 504-481-2224 and stated that I had the wrong number and hung up on me. I then mailed one letter to the only address provided by the Intellius search, which happened to be the property in question. The letter was returned unclaimed as returned to sender, vacant, unable to forward. Mennonite letters were sent by Amy Vallow, Director of Inspection and Code Enforcement of the City of Kenner, to Capstone of Louisiana, Inc., Alco, Inc., and Parish of Jefferson Bureau of Revenue and Taxation on September 29th of 2014. A copy of those letters with the returned letter certified receipt slip are included in my curator exhibits. Not convinced the named defendants had been found, I ran an ad in the Times-Picayune on October 8th, October 10th, and 12th of 2014. I received phone calls from the Times-Picayune ad from one person named Carol Poirier on 3 different occasions. The first conversation was on October 10th of 2014, wherein Ms. Poirier stated that she saw the ad in the Times-Picayune, was married to one of the Kochs' son named George Rothermel for 15 to 16 years until they divorced. She stated that Mr. Rothermel passed away at least 20 years ago. I informed her that the City of Kenner hired me to locate the Kochs, and she replied both were deceased, Mr. Koch years ago and Mrs. Koch more recently, right before Hurricane Katrina. I asked Ms. Poirier if the Kochs had any other biological and/or adopted children, and she stated that the Kochs had 2 other children, David Rothermel, who was staying at the property in question, but picked up and left, and no one knows of his whereabouts, and the other child is Gloria Tadoff, whom no one knows of her whereabouts. I told Ms. Poirier that it was after hours because she had called me after 6 o'clock on a Friday, and that I would speak to Ms. Vallow at the City of Kenner to see if Ms. Vallow wanted Ms. Poirier to show up for the council meeting today. I spoke with Ms. Vallow on October 14th of 2014, and then spoke to Ms. Poirier regarding the conversation that Ms. Vallow and I had, wherein I told Ms. Poirier that the information that she told me was sufficient to relay the information to the council members and put in my note of evidence. However, if Ms. Poirier wanted to show up for tonight's council meeting, she could, and that I would let her know the day that it came up for demolition. Ms. Poirier informed me that she and Mr. George Rothermel had kids together and wanted to know what to do. I informed Ms. Poirier at that point that I was not her attorney, that I was hired by the City of Kenner solely to locate the Kochs, and that I could not give her any legal advice. However, she could contact an attorney if she wished on this matter. She said okay. On October 16th of 2014, Ms. Poirier called asking questions again, and again I informed her that I was not her attorney and I was hired by the City of Kenner, and she could contact another attorneys as property rights could be involved for either her or the children that she had with one of the Kochs' children. I told her that I would let her know the date of the council meeting, which I did that on November 18th to inform her of today's council meeting. I asked her if she had decided to obtain an attorney. She said she saw a real estate lawyer who told her that the house had been abandoned for years, that they could go look at it, take pictures, and decide what they wanted to do. She stated that her kids decided they did not want to purchase the property or pay the taxes owed on the property, as it was, quote, not worth fixing up and would cost too much money. I informed Ms. Poirier that she could come to the council meeting and speak on the property if she chose to do so, but I would be relaying all of the information and the findings in my curator's note of evidence and to you, council members. Ms. Poirier informed me that she would speak to her current husband to decide whether or not she would come to tonight's meeting, but to date I have not heard back from her. So I'm not sure if she's here or not, and those are the steps that I took to locate the defendants with this property.
Thank you. That was a
Thank you.
very good presentation. Ms. Poirier, are you in the audience by any chance? I'm scanning to make sure. No, evidently not. Is there anyone from the audience who would like to speak on this issue? Seeing no one, I'd like to close public hearing. Councilman Klein moves to close public hearing, seconded by Councilman Reyno. And Councilman Reyno, you will have the floor at this time. Thank you. Could you press your button again? It disappeared. Sorry, it just disappeared. All right, we're gonna move to close public hearing first. I just wanted him to push his button first, but it's okay. Okay, would everyone please vote to close public hearing?
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0.
But I want you to push the button, that's all right. Move by Councilman Reyno, seconded by Councilman Klein. Councilman Reyno, you have the floor. Okay, finally. You can keep it on.
Thank you, Madam President. Thanks To Amy Vallow, our code director, I appreciate this. I'm going to just be brief and just ask for all of my council members' support to have this house taken down. We've been battling this for years, well, at least 2.5 years that I've been on the council. So, and it's definitely an eyesore, and we get a lot of complaints at our council office. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Moreno. Councilman Klein, you have the floor.
I believe prior to 2005. The end of the Mrs. Koch passed away right before Hurricane Katrina, I believe, and it's been vacant since then.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other councilman wishing to speak, I call for a vote. Councilman, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0. Item 9B is a public hearing regarding a resolution to authorize the city council for the city of Kenner to hold a public hearing to determine whether or not the buildings located at 1805 Lloyd Price Avenue, Kenner, Louisiana, should not be repaired or demolished.
No. I'm sorry, we had a question. Let me just clarify. At this point, may I clarify what these resolutions are about? At this point, we are simply asking, having a resolution authorizing the City Council of the City of Kenner to hold a public hearing to determine whether or not the building should be demolished. I wanted to make that very clear. Evidently, there was some question as to what was going on. So I apologize for that. I thought it was a point of clarification that needed to be put on the record. Now, I'm going to open public hearing, if that's, Councilman Carroll, moved by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilman Segura, to open public hearing. Everyone, please, I'm sorry? We have a problem?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Everyone, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0 to open your public hearing.
We are now in a public hearing. Ms. Vallow, do you have a presentation for us?
I do.
Gremlins tonight.
I'll get it right in a minute.
The structure in question is an elevated structure supported by piers bearing municipal address of 1805 Lloyd Price Avenue. The property is owned by Ms. Clara Wilson. It was determined that this property was unsafe and dangerous under the building codes of the City of Kenner, as well as Section 5-57 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Kenner. Notice was sent certified mail to the property owner advising her of the property and building violations. After no response from the property owner, a curator was appointed by the city. As of this date, the violations have not been corrected, nor have there been any attempts to comply. The City of Kenner also contracted the services of an engineer, and it is noted by the report of the engineer retained by the city, who provided the following reasons of inadequate maintenance, dilapidation, abandonment, and imminent danger of collapse. Utilities have been disconnected. A fire occurred within the structure in February of 2009. Numerous roof and wall framing members have signs of significant fire damage. Large areas of the vinyl siding have been melted due to the fire, thus exposing the wall sheathing. The columns supporting the roof structure at the porch have collapsed, thus causing the roof to sag. This missing column makes this building structurally unstable since a portion of the roof structure is now cantilevered, which it was not originally designed for. The structural stability of this building is severely compromised now that the columns are missing and the roof framing members are now supporting loads which they were not originally designed to resist. Furthermore, these wood framing members were severely weakened from the fire, thus reducing their load carrying capacity. Based on the visual observations, the structure is structurally unsound and in imminent danger of collapse. Furthermore, recommendation is made that the city take steps necessary to declare it a public nuisance and have it abated by demolition.
Thank you, Ms. Vallow. Do we have anyone else in the audience? Yes, ma'am. Would you please step to the mic?
Good afternoon again, council members. My name is Sophie Rosado. I was appointed as the curator to locate Ms. Clara Wilson, care of her agent, in fact, Carol Jacob. I ran an internet background search on Intellius. I was unable to make contact with Miss Wilson or her agent, in fact, Miss Carol Jacob, on any of the phone numbers provided by that search. I then mailed letters to all 11 addresses provided by the Intellius search. Of the 11 certified letters that were mailed, 10 were returned unclaimed. The 11th letter that was mailed to 807 27th Street in Kenner, Louisiana 70062 was never returned to me by the post office. However, I ran a certified mail tracking number through www.usps.com tracking system to track the certified letter, and I printed out the findings. The printout showed that on October 4th of 2014, the letter went out for delivery from the post office. On October 8th of 2014, that letter was tracked on the website as undeliverable as addressed. And unfortunately, the Baton Rouge post office has been having this letter since October 13th in order to put a yellow sticker on it that says undeliverable as addressed. The last scan was in Baton Rouge that happened on November 4th. So I'm still waiting for that back. However, I do have confirmation that it was undelivered or undeliverable. I went to the Kenner post office to find out about the letter, and they tried to call Baton Rouge post office. However, they have not been able to get in touch with anyone over there to tell us more about why they still have it. Both printouts are attached, or I should say the post office in Kenner also printed out showing the tracking of that one certified letter that we're still waiting to get back, and both printouts are attached to my letter in the exhibits for this case. I also spoke with Ms. Amy Vallow regarding this, and she stated the printout was sufficient to show the letter was attempted to be delivered by the post office, with the attempt being undeliverable as addressed on October 8th. Not convinced the named defendants had been found, I ran an ad in the Times-Picayune on October 5th, October 8th, and 10th, and to date I have not received any phone calls regarding this property. And then late yesterday, I did speak to Councilman Carroll regarding what I just mentioned today. The only thing that I couldn't explain to him was how many liens and the total of the liens are on the property.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the audience who wishes to speak? Seeing no one, moved by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilman Segura to close public hearing. Everyone, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0 to close your public hearing.
Moved by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilman Segura. Councilman Carroll, would you please press your button to speak then? It's not showing up. Okay, now it has. Good. Thank you. Councilman Carroll, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. And first, I'd like to thank Ms. Valad for providing me all of the information over the past couple of years for this particular property. And this is one of those things, as we all as councilmen, we don't like doing, but I believe after so many years, we get to the point where we have to do what is best for the community. I also would like to apologize to Ms. Rosada. I called her right in the middle of her dinner to get some additional information. So I apologize for that again, for calling you. But you like a professional, you answered all of my questions, addressed all the situations. This particular property is owned by a lady, Ms. Wilson. Full disclosure, I grew up right around the corner from Ms. Clara, which she's affectionately known by me. I've been knowing her my entire life, so it's a little bit personal when you know someone, especially Ms. Clara is in her 90s. She's a lifelong resident of Kenner. She moved when the house caught a fire with relatives in Kansas, and it was a process of trying to locate her through her relatives, and we could never do that. The city couldn't do it. Ms. Vela couldn't do it. Attorney Shaw couldn't do it. I could not do it. And that is why, we go through this process, and I think we've done as much as we can to this point. It is also important to let everybody know this building is directly across the street from the future food bank, where we will have a number of people on a day-to-day basis coming in to be able to be provided food and parking and all sorts of things. So based on that, this is where we are, and we have to do something to ensure the liability for the city, for children passing through. The code enforcement have done their job. We have to do our job. So I'm going to support this because it is the right thing to do. It is like
Councilwoman DeFrancis said, the hearing to hear it. You know, in my deepest heart, I hope that Ms. Clara will be able to send someone to represent to possibly do something. But there are a number of things that, you know, Mr. Terrell and I have talked about possibly doing some things, but we're not, and Ms. Valot, but we're not there yet. What we are is we have to instill what is best for the city. That's where we are today. So I'll ask my colleagues for the support. I also ask that at the hearing, I will continue to try to get in touch with Ms. Clara and her relatives. But again, thank Ms. Valot for her support. I look forward to going forward with this and improving the area overall for the city of Kenner. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman Carroll. I just wish to say make one simple little statement. I know that Councilman Carroll and this council and the administration has done everything possible to help the people involved. So therefore, once we have, done everything we can, then we have no choice but to do what's right. So I just wanted to put that on the record. Seeing no one else wishing to speak, everyone please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0. Item 9C is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 11,791, an ordinance authorizing a public hearing and a budget amendment to approve amendment number 1 to the fiscal year 2008 Home Investment Partnership Grant allocation from the Jefferson Home Consortium to the City of Kenner for the Department of Community Development.
Moved by Councilman Conley to open public hearing, seconded by Councilman DeFrances. Council members, would you please vote? We are now in a public hearing. Ms. Arleta Terrell, would you like to address the audience and the council?
Madam Chairman, your motion passes 6-0.
I'm sorry, I should have given you a chance to say
Okay.
that.
Thank you. For the benefit of the council and the public, this budget amendment and public hearing is to authorize the reallocation of our 2008 home grant that was awarded to the city of Kenner. Previously, money was budgeted for an affordable housing development program. In 2008, the administration solicited statement of qualifications. We received several proposals from different organizations to develop affordable housing, but unfortunately, none of those came through. I worked tirelessly with a number of hours with attorney Deborah Yenny, and so now there's a need to reallocate that money. We have a very, very popular and successful first-time home buyers program with a lot of families that's desiring to purchase homes here in Kenner, and so this public hearing is to authorize the reallocation of that money to the first-time home buyers program, and I ask your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Terrell. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council? Seeing no one, moved by Councilman Conley, seconded by Councilwoman DeFrances to close public hearing. Council members, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0 to close your public hearing.
Moved by Councilman Conley, seconded by Councilwoman DeFrances. Councilman Conley, did you wish to speak? Council members, would you please vote?
One more. Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0. Item 9D is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 11,792, an ordinance authorizing a public hearing and approving budget amendment number 1 to fiscal year 2009-2010 Home Investment Partnership Grant allocation for the Parish Home Consortium, Jefferson Parish Home Consortium, to the City of Kenner for the Department of Community Development.
Moved by Councilman Conley to open public hearing, seconded by Councilwoman DeFrances. Council members, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0.
We're now in a public hearing. Ms. Arleta Terrell, would you like to address the council and the audience once again, please?
Yes, thank you. This budget amendment is proposing to reallocate funds from our 2009 and 2010 home grant allocation, And the primary purpose of reallocating the monies from these two grants is to capitalize funds needed to renovate and place back in commerce our Annie Washington, the former Annie Washington Community Resource Center, and have it reconstructed and turned into the Annie Washington Transitional Housing Facility. And so, again, there was monies from these prior years in activities that were not being used. Again, the demand now is for the first-time home buyer program. Previously, this money was put in place for an affordable housing development program. So again, we're asking that that money is reallocated to the Annie Washington Transitional Housing Project. And I ask your support on that.
Thank you, Ms. Terrell. Is there anyone else from the audience wishing to speak? Seeing no one, moved by Councilman Connolly, second by Councilwoman DeFrancis to close public hearing. I'm sorry, I didn't see you, Councilman Carroll. I apologize. I guess I need glasses tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Terrell, there's a couple of questions. I will be supporting this, but there's a couple of things on 9D. First is the first-time homebuyers assistance. The second is the Annie Washington Transitional. A lot of people within the audience and also who will be viewing this, if you could please give us a brief synopsis of both. First, the first-time homebuyers, any particulars that we need to pass on, and second, a little bit more about the Annie Washington facility.
Okay.
What's our plans from the city of Kenner as it relates to that building?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and as you see, the money that's been allocated for the first-time homebuyer program remains untouched, because as I said, it's a popular program. That program is available to assist low to moderate income families and individuals purchase homes here in Kenner. We provide up to $10,000 toward down payment and closing cost assistance, and an additional $30,000 in what we call a mortgage buy-down deferred payment loan. And that's basically a grant that they don't have to pay back as long as all of the conditions of that grant is met and they remain in that home for a period of 15 years. In total, a person could possibly get up to $40,000 in assistance. On an average, it averages about $22,000, and it's been very successful and a great aid toward persons that otherwise would not have been able to buy homes, and their house notes are basically the same, sometimes less than the rent that they're paying.
And is this open just for citizens of Kenner, or is it open for Jefferson Parish, this particular monies?
Oh, our money is just for Kenner.
Just for Kenner?
But Jefferson Parish has a twin program of its own.
Okay.
And it also provides up to $40,000. So there are two programs alike.
Okay, and the Annie Washington facility?
With the Annie Washington facility, we're proposing, as I said, to convert that facility into a transitional housing facility, which would provide housing on up to possibly a year to persons that are homeless, persons that's just in transition from homelessness to trying to move into self-sufficiency, as well as veterans that come here seeking medical attention, veterans that's in need of housing, and different persons that are in one of our programs that's helping them to move towards self-sufficiency.
And this too will be only allocated for residents of the city of Kenner?
Right.
Also?
Right.
Same criteria?
And also fire victims, I'm sorry.
And fire victims?
Yes.
And when you mention veterans who are presently living in Kenner, or veterans, how does that piece fit in?
We have several community agencies that we work with that make referrals to us on families in need. And we have a church that's real close to City Hall here that specialize in servicing veterans that have medical needs as well as housing needs. So we'll be working in partnership with those organizations, getting referrals. The veterans that's here, of course, will take priority, but sometimes you do have veterans that's from out of town. They come here requiring medical treatment and they have nowhere to stay. And so they would be allowed to stay there if they're a part of a program of one of our community social service agencies.
Yes, I'm glad that little caveat is there, particularly for veterans.
Yes.
You know, sometimes people wind up in situations, different parts of this, may not live in the city of Kenner, but if they're associated with a group, we at the city of Kenner, as always, we support veterans, and that is something I think is definitely beneficial and will be useful for a number of veterans. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing no one else wishing to speak, council members, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0. Now I need a motion to adopt.
Councilman Carroll, may I just make one small statement? We normally wait to speak from, the council waits to speak after the close of public hearing. That's what threw me off for a moment. So normally we allow the audience and Ms. Terrell or anyone else doing a presentation to speak first. And then after we vote to close public hearing, normally the council votes. But I know it was very important to you, so I wanted to let you have the opportunity to talk to Ms. Terrell. But for the future, I just wanted to point that out to all the council members. Councilman Connolly, move, second by Councilwoman DeFrancis to move forward, and we do. Everyone, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. Item 12A is summary ordinance number 11,767, an ordinance designating and naming the Office of Inspection and Code Enforcement located at Building B, Suite 100, 1801 Williams Boulevard, Kenner, Louisiana, 70062, the Matthew Junior Chiro Office of Inspections and Code Enforcement. I've received a request from the administration to defer this item for one meeting.
Moved by Councilman Segura, seconded by Councilwoman DeFrancis to defer for one meeting. Council members, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0 to defer for one meeting. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution accepting and adopting the System Survey and Compliance Questionnaire from the Legislative Auditor for the State of Louisiana.
Moved by Councilwoman DeFrancis, seconded by Councilman Connolly. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, council members, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0. Item 13B is a resolution calling a public hearing on December 4th, 2014 for the purpose of discussing the removal of a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission in accordance with Section 1E of the City of Kenner Planning Commission Rules and Procedures.
Moved by Councilman Segura, seconded by Councilmember Connolly. Sorry. Seeing no one wishing to speak, council members, please vote. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. I apologize, sir.
My name is Michael Jeruso. I live at 123 Oaklawn Ridge, St. Rose, Louisiana. I'm here on behalf of my father, who's in a rehab facility right now. He broke his hip in March. He's asking to defer this so he could attend the meeting. He's served the city of Kenner since the mayor's grandfather's been here. He served on the sewage board commissioner. He served for the zoning board. He still wants to continue serving. I know the whole time that he's been out, he's been in contact with the zoning board or the secretary. So it's not like he don't want to be on the board. I don't know why they're seeking to remove him, but he would like y'all to defer it. He'll be getting out tomorrow, so he'd like to be here to be able to speak on his behalf.
Mr. Drews, I just want to make sure I heard you. You would like a one-meeting deferral. Is that what
Yes.
your father's requesting?
Yes.
Councilman Segura? one person at a time. Councilman Segura. Mr. Jeruso.
You call me.
So I don't know if that's what he's asking for, because he
That's
didn't.
fine with us.
Okay.
I don't know why anybody wants to remove him.
Well, that's what the point of a public hearing is for. So the public hearing, according to this approval tonight, will be on December 4th. That's when we'll discuss it.
Before any other council member speaks, if everyone would not mind on this council, I believe Mr. Powers has some information for this council. Would you like to explain what's going on? I think there are some questions about exactly what's occurring and what this resolution does. Would you mind?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. This resolution simply calls for a public hearing. It doesn't remove anyone. The public hearing is when the matter will be discussed by the council and the public's allowed to address the council to determine if cause exists. But tonight, this vote is simply to schedule a hearing. It is not to take any other action but to schedule a hearing.
I hope that clarifies it for everyone.
Fine.
Push your button. Push your button. Your name is not coming up.
He can't
Councilman
have it
Carroll.
because he voted already. What do you want me to do?
There's a vote in the system. There's a vote in the system. Hang on.
Give him the mic like this?
Is your mic live?
So now.
That's what you want me to do.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Mr. Russo. I understand, and thanks the Mr. Power for the explanation about this is only requesting to have the hearing. But just like before when we had about the House, I am not comfortable enough to vote right now for to have the hearing, because in my opinion, I would like to get more information before I suggest and go on and to have a meeting that we may not really have to have. So I would prefer to have it deferred for another meeting, so I'm able to personally to be able to get some more information as it relates to Mr. Jeruso. Because if we don't vote for the deferral, I won't be able to support it because I don't have enough information to be able to suggest to go on to the hearing. So I will make a motion to defer. If
So how do you want me to handle it?
We need to clear the machine. Hang on. Clear your machine. End your vote.
so, I would ask my colleague for the deferral.
For one moment, please, sir. Okay, we need to clear the machines first.
No, get it off your screen now. End vote. Done. Hit done.
Okay, we're straight now.
Yeah, but he's just made a motion.
Okay, now, Councilman Carroll has just made a motion for deferral. There were some votes that were taken prior to Mr. Jeruso coming up to the mic to speak. So at this moment in time, Councilman Carroll has the floor. He has asked for a deferral. Okay. Would you like to speak on the deferral, sir? That's what I'm saying. We need a second first. I'll second it because some people want to discuss the deferral. So Councilman Reyno, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. As far as a deferral, we can defer next meeting the public hearing. So, I don't understand why we're not voting on this issue right now that's on the agenda. So it makes no sense to me. It's just delaying the process, and between now and the next meeting, I'm sure we can get all your questions answered, Councilman Carroll. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak on the deferral at this time? Okay. I just want to put it on the record that I totally understand this resolution. I spoke to it before to Councilman Segura. I did try to place a call. I did receive a call earlier, and I did try to return that call. This does not, I understand that this does not in any way indicate what's going to happen. It simply is a means of putting forward the request to have a hearing on this issue. The only problem I have is if Mr. Jeruso Senior, who is asking that he come here before the council at this time, I don't have a problem letting him come to the council first. It doesn't mean I'm going to be pro or con when I listen to the issue, but I do have a problem now after thinking about it, talking to a few people on my own prior to this meeting. I do have some questions. If he can come to the next meeting,
He can.
okay, because otherwise, I will be moving forward and supporting this resolution at the next meeting. I just want to put that on the record, because we can't keep deferring. We've done that on a few issues, to be honest with you, and I have a problem with
I
that.
don't have a problem with y'all moving forward to the next meeting.
You don't have a problem?
No, I don't have a problem with that. He'll be able to attend the meeting.
Okay, so you don't have a problem with the deferral not taking place, and at the next meeting, your father coming to speak to the council and addressing the issues, sir?
I thought they were going to discuss it tonight on removing him. But
Am I
have
correct?
no
Did I
problem.
understand you correctly?
I have no problem moving forward.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Then I will remove my second. Thank you.
We'll see y'all on the 4th.
Councilman Conley, would you like to speak at this time? No, all got straightened out. Great, good. Seeing no one else wishing to speak, I call for a vote on the deferral first. But I removed my second, so I don't have to vote on the deferral, do I? Exactly. Exactly. So we're moving on the actual. Does anyone else wish to second it? Seeing no one wishing to second it, let's move forward with the vote then. Thank you.
And the vote is Councilman Segura, motion, Councilman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Con, okay,
The original motion
okay.
as presented. The original motion as presented. Point of clarification.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 5-1. Councilmember Carroll opposed. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 11,790, an ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Jefferson Parish Economic Development Commission, JEDCO, for services related to increasing economic development in the city of Kenner and related matters.
Moved by Councilwoman DeFrancis, seconded by Councilman Segura. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0. Item 15B is a resolution approving change order number 3 to the contract with Frischhertz Electric Company Incorporated dated September 19th, 2013 regarding replacement of playground lighting at Susan Park Playground, which decreased the contract amount by $13,239 for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Moved by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilman Reyno. Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, please vote.
Motion passes 6-0. Item 15C is a resolution accepting as complete the contract with MST Enterprises LLC dated July 31st, 2014 regarding the landscaping and related construction, including retainer wall, irrigation, and lighting for the gateway sign located at Williams Boulevard and I-10 exit for the Department of Public Works.
Moved by Councilman Segura, seconded by Councilman Klein. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from Gray Bar Electric Company Incorporated in the amount of $13,275 to furnish one ASCO Series 300 transfer switch or equal for the Emergency Operations Center in accordance with telephone bid T 14-1529 for the Department of Public Works. Item 15B is an ordinance authorizing the purchase and installation of 3 automated license plate recognition systems in the amount of $42,218, utilizing State of Louisiana Contract Number 409133- with Louisiana Tech LLC for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16C is an ordinance authorizing the purchase and installation of light bar sirens, console, and computer mounts to 3 new Ford Expeditions utilizing State Contract Number 408186 for Vehicle Parts and Equipment Company Incorporated in an amount of $17,445.30 for the Kenner Fire Department. Madam Chairman, I need a motion and a second to remove this from
the agenda. Moved by Councilman Reno to remove it from the agenda, seconded by Councilman Klein. Council members, please vote. We are removing this item from the agenda.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 6-0 to remove this item. Item 16D is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Beacon Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration Incorporated in the amount of $14,350 for the removal of the old air conditioner unit and the furnishing and installation of the new air conditioning unit at the Kenner Planetarium in accordance with letter bid number 14-1526 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 16E is an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from Rainey Electronics Incorporated in an amount of $17,334 to furnish and install baseball scoreboard systems at various playgrounds in accordance with seal bid number 14-1527 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 16F is an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from Hewley Waters LLC, doing business as Wellness Water Company, in the amount of $10,186 to furnish and install a well filtering system with 3-year maintenance in accordance with letter bid number 14-1524 for the Department of Public Works. Item 16G is an ordinance creating the Department of Sewerage in accordance with Section 4.32 of the City of Kenner Home Rule Charter and further designating the functions of the department and the department head. Item 16H is an ordinance approving and accepting the servitude by Allstate Financial Company to the City of Kenner for a portion of partial 1-A, being a portion of Canal Number 5 north of Square 159, Kenner Heights subdivision, for installation and maintenance of sewerage facilities for the 10th and Maria Street lift station and Forest Main Sewer Improvement Project. Item 17 is reports from the council under our special committees.
Does anyone have a report? They would please push your button. Councilman Reno, I believe you would like to give a report, so you now have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to remind everybody that the Historic Rivertown Restoration Association is having a jazz brunch Sunday at the Crossings. It's $30, and it's for a great cause, so hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Carroll, I believe you'd like to address the audience as well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam President. I would like to first thank the community development, the recreation, the police department for the event with the seniors, the Thanksgiving dinner this past Wednesday. It was a fantastic event. I'm sure my other colleagues will speak on it individually. And also to remind the seniors of the city of Kenner that on Friday at the Buddy Lawson Playground, along with the directors at the city of Kenner, to please stop by for a couple of hours, get a nice plate of food to eat, some turkey, which will be catered by LaBella's, support from Wendig Sieg, Mr. Alita Terrell's Department of Community Development, Assurance Care, a number of organizations who will be participating for the seniors. So again, it's Friday, November 21st, starts for 11 o'clock at Buddy Lawson Playground, 1824 Short Street, for the seniors of the city of Kenner. So thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman Carroll. Councilman Conley, you now have the floor, sir.
I would just like to commend the Department of Recreation and all the little participants in the Spirit Bowl championship. Our rec department hosted a cheerleading competition, and I think everybody was a winner. The mayor was in attendance, as well as my colleagues on the council, and it was a very spirited and enjoyable event, but it was top-notch thanks to Mr. Mericoli and his department and all the effort Ms. Long and the rest of the department puts into it. So I wanted anybody that wants to check it out, it will be on KTV, and it will definitely lift your spirits. It was a very, very enjoyable event.
Thank you, Councilman Connolly. Councilman Segura, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I also pick up on Councilman Carroll's comments on the Senior Citizens Dinner at the Council on Aging or Exhibition Hall this year. They had to move it out of their typical home over to the Exposition Hall because of the growth in the numbers of participants, and I guess that's good to see that so many of our elderly are able to get up and get around and still come out and then certainly come to this worthwhile opportunity to have a Thanksgiving luncheon. Many years ago, this luncheon was attended by other elected officials. At that time, Chief Kanjimi, who was the police chief, picked up and saw that there was a need, so he volunteered his police employees to come and serve the meals. And over those years, I've been happy to say I was part of that team of employees serving. This year, got to still participate on a little basis, but was quite impressed at the number of police employees that did participate this year. And I wanted to certainly thank Chief Glazer for ensuring or inspiring so many of the police officers and employees to come to this event, because there was a large number, and that was definitely good to see that they appreciate coming out and participating in this service. I know the citizens or the elderly that are there don't hopefully see the police that often, so it is a good thing for them when they see them there to get to talk to them. But again, I wanted to thank Chief Glazer for his inspiration, I guess, to get that many employees to come out and participate. So thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Councilman Segura. And I would just like to mention, yes, the police officers did a phenomenal job, and their chief was there with them. I want to make sure everyone knows that. They've done this every year, and they do a phenomenal job. They really, I think the elderly look forward to it. Those police officers, you can see, really enjoy it, I believe, as well. They feel as if now the community really gets to see who they are and that they care about this community, because our police department does a great job, and I have to thank them for all they do for us. And Councilman Connolly, you're right, it was fun. Those children are so excited, and they jump up and down. They run for the little medals. They run for, for the trophies, and it just makes your heart sing when you see them and their enthusiasm. So it was fun, and I enjoy it. And I hope more of you come out. We had a lot of participation. We had a lot of parents and friends, and I hope everyone comes out next year. And finally, on behalf of, I think I speak for the council, on behalf of myself and the entire council, we wish everyone an absolutely wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. It's a time of joy and sharing with families. And please don't forget those who are less fortunate as well. We try to help the best way we can here in the city of Kenner. Ms. Arlita Terrell has a wonderful function coming up as well to help those who are less fortunate, to make sure they have a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner. And we have Mr. Maine and his company coming to help us, and they have done this before. Last year was a phenomenal year, and his employees donate their time. They're so enthusiastic about coming out and helping that it really, again, it's a wonderful spirit, and it's wonderful to see. So thank you to Mr. Maine and his entire crew for all they do for the city, Ms. Terrell for working with them and making it happen. So again, don't forget those less fortunate, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving from all of us.
What's that?
Is there anyone else? Mary Yenny, I believe you would like to speak.
Yes, I just wanted to add, on December 2nd. December 2nd, I got so many dates in my head. December 2nd, we have the annual Sipping with Santa at Chateau Country Club starting at 6 o'clock. Tickets are only $35. They have a great auction plan this year. All the proceeds will go to the Kenner Food Bank. Both my wife and former Chief Steve Caraway's wife, Karen, have worked very, very hard to continue this from starting it over 4 years ago. And I think they even got a vacation to Mexico for 5 days donated as part of the auction, so at a great resort down there. So it's a lot of good things that they have this year, they'd like to hit the goal of $40,000 this year. They've raised, like I said, over $100,000 for the past 4 years, and if they can hit 40, that'll put them way over, and hopefully by the time my second term's finished, they'll have hit over 200,000 plus for the Kenner Food Bank, because we want to make sure we put these funds back into the food bank to be able to do the Christmas and Thanksgiving give-outs we do, and to make sure the food bank is stocked. Ms. Arlita Terrell and I, she had been there several times. It's my first time towards Second Harvest's Food Bank, who provides at least 60% of the food to the Kenner Food Bank. And, they have a great facility out in Elmwood. We saw how it works, what happens. And, she still works with Mr. Ronnie Maines, as we mentioned earlier, on going to the Walmart distribution area and Robert trying to get shipments dropped off. Once we have the new food bank with a new drop-off area and freezers and coolers, we'll be able to handle even more food to meet the demands that the food bank has recently been getting. And then, of course, we'll say this again, but just to put it out there now, on December 5th, we have the kickoff to our Christmas Village. The Department of Public Works and Recreation have been working very hard, along with Ms. Donna Hahn, making sure we have acts booked for all Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays in December, leading up to to Christmas at the Christmas Village, which will be held in Rivertown. It's been a great success since we moved it down there. They've had a much higher attendance than it ever was when it was next to City Hall, and we're getting people back into the area of Rivertown, our new Main Street, and people are starting to take advantage of what's happening down there, and we're trying to get some more buildings sold. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't realize it went off. Be good. And I just want to say again, the city of Kenner and its people, the people of Kenner really truly have a heart, and we care about those who are less fortunate. So thank you, Mayor, to all of those, to your wife and to Mrs. Caraway and all of those who make it happen to care about those that are in need. So again, we thank everyone for all they do. Thank you. And seeing no one else wishing to speak, this meeting is adjourned. Pardon me? No, Mr. Giarrusso is the only one. There are no members of the audience who wish to address this council. So seeing no one else, motion to adjourn by Councilman Conley, seconded by Councilman Reyno. Thank you.